All right, the gentlewoman is
recognized
for 1 minute.
Thank you. Now, as a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, she's just getting warmed up.
I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
So that was the pride and joy of New York. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez having a bizarre meltdown over the Republican-led Congress voting Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar off the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Republicans had long been vowing to do just that in view of Omar's history of anti-Semitic and anti-American remarks, which she's clearly done. She has a gift for verbal virulence against both Israel and the United States, and the Republicans promised retribution on that, which they just delivered. But for me, it was that rant. I mean, I frankly could care less about Ilhan Omar. I find her utterly repulsive, but that repulsiveness took on a new embodiment by this narcissistic psychopath from New York, AOC. And what interests me here is how her response was typical of the woke mind virus. So I thought it would be actually fruitful for us to reflect a bit and see what this tells us in terms of what we're dealing with, in terms of our ongoing war with wokeism. First, you'll notice that AOC made this all about race, right? She went full-blown MSNBC on us. Don't tell me this is about she had a little Porky Pig moment there, right? Condemnation. That's right. This is not about condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. That's what this is about. I feel it. The Holy Spirit. It's just coming over me. I feel this is about targeting. It's about targeting women of color. To which my very first question is, what do you mean by woman? What the heck are you talking about? What do you mean by that word? Before we could play the race card here, I almost broke my glasses. Before we play the race card, what is this gendered term woman that you use? What is it? Matt Walsh has an entire documentary of your fellow woke warriors having absolutely no idea how to even begin to define that term. So that would be my very first question to this rant. My second question is, isn't uncritically assuming that other people are prejudiced, isn't that itself a sign of prejudice? Isn't uncritically assuming that Republicans are racist, isn't that kind of racist on your part? I mean, imagine if I did something like that with any other group. What if I said gypsies are all about targeting Europeans? I mean, that would clearly be a statement of prejudice, a prejudging of an entire group of people. Why is it okay when you do it? Why is prejudice bad for Republicans, but good for Democrats? But there's something else even more fundamental going on here. You see, playing the race card is part of a larger deck known as victimhood. Victimhood, this claim that one has been treated unjustly victimized. Victimhood works rhetorically because it automatically puts the victim in a posture of moral superiority, and the interlocutor, the person she's having the argument with, is immediately put on the defensive. Since now the interlocutor is no longer a person who simply disagrees with the victim, the interlocutor is now a victimizer. And that's a horrible thing if it were true, and not just a cheap rhetorical trick intending to deliberately intimidate. It's also a fallacy. You'll notice that AOC used victimhood to diminish Ilhan Omar's responsibility for the things that she said, right, that have nothing to do with her victimhood. According to AOC, Ilhan Omar is not morally responsible for her anti-Semitic, anti-American remarks. And that's because she didn't say them? No, it's because she's a victim. You see, in the world of the woke mind virus, being a victim recuses you of any moral culpability. AOC is fabricating victimhood in order to allow Ilhan Omar to escape responsibility and culpability for what she clearly did. But then notice the bait and switch. AOC was pretty upset, wasn't she? We might say she was quite morally outraged. But how? I thought that when one is designated a victim, you're recused from any moral transgression. Ah, that's true for the victim, but emphatically not the victimizer. No, the victimizer is beyond all redemption. The victimizer is the epitome of moral condemnation. And in the world of the woke mind virus, AOC and Ilhan Omar are never, ever victimizers. They are always the victim. This is technically known as the stolen concept fallacy. It's the attempt to condemn the victimizer with the very moral standards from which you recuse yourself. Heads I win, tails you lose. AOC just treated all of us, literally the entire nation, to a temper tantrum that had no logical substance whatsoever. She denounced attacking women of color while at the same time denouncing anyone for trying to define what a woman actually is. She was utterly incensed over the violation of a moral standard from which she recuses her own self. All of this suggests to me that wokeness has no future. It's morally bankrupt, logically absurd. But until it blows itself up, taking its place on the proverbial ash heap of history, it still provides moments that are just fun to watch. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on a dad who confronted a teacher who made his son wear a dress. You're not going to want to miss this. So make sure to click on that link and I'll see you over there. God bless.